This conference will now be recorded.
I was supposed to meet with you about how to do this.
Need to call the meeting.
Yeah, I'd like to call the meeting in order. Can I get a roll call?
No.
He's here.
Me? Lewis,
Here.
Wilson, Costello,
Here.
LeVar,
Here.
Luther,
Here.
Winterstein.
Here. Awesome. Are there any changes or amendments to the meeting minutes from February 3rd? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Second that.
This is Al, I'll support that.
There we go. Do I have to do it again? Okay,
Oh, you're fine.
okay.
Who made the motion?
Technically,
Make a motion.
Okay.
and Mo supported.
Unfortunately, Mo cannot support it.
Oh, that's right. I'll support.
Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah, I should probably explain this as your parliamentarian. Due to the Open Meetings Act, Al, you can participate in the discussion, but you can't make motions. You cannot second motions and you cannot vote. They're telling us right now because of the way the Open Meetings Act is worded.
So if everybody were online, we couldn't do anything.
Pretty much.
Okay, that's fine.
No, and I apologize for that.
I was like, why am I here?
Al's like, why am I here? But
Wait a second.
unfortunately, with the Open
It's
Meetings,
almost 5 o'clock cocktail hour here, so.
better hurry up then so we can get done in time.
God forbid. All right, I kind of jumped the gun. Looking for approval of the agenda modifications. If anybody has anything else to add.
Mr. Chair, can I add an item to the agenda, please?
Yes.
I will need to have a discussion today on the grant recommendations.
Okay.
Isn't that number 4?
Cassie put it on there for me at the last minute.
Oh, okay.
Be corrected on the agenda, but it wasn't on the agenda that was on the packet, so.
Okay. We don't need to do a motion to approve, right? Or do we? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the addition?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Okay. Motion approved. On to business. Shannon, would you like to share with us operational updates?
I would love to. In front of you, you have the complimentary slip procedures that we have went over for the last few months. Standard operating procedure, I don't know what the number is yet. They're going to give it to me when we actually take it to council. Did everybody get a chance to review those here over the last little bit when you got your packet?
Oh, this is on the complimentary.
Yes, it's complimentary dockage. Did everybody get a chance to review that?
Yeah.
One more time?
Yep.
Is there any concerns with what we came up with eventually with that?
It seems to be pretty right on par with what we were talking about the last meeting, right? So. Do we need to have a vote to approve it or?
You have a need to have a vote to recommend it to council for.
Okay. Do I need a motion to start that or do I need, okay. Can I get a motion to approve this to be presented to council for voting?
Make a motion. We approve it. I'll second.
Okay, motion approved.
You actually have to vote.
Oh, we have to vote now?
You
Shit.
always have to
I
vote.
should have met with you earlier this week.
That's okay. Yep.
Do I initiate it or do it? Okay, just signify by yea, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes.
Okay.
Normo.
Okay. The second one that we had for standard operating procedures was the procedure for bylaws for the committee. The only question I had in that one was what date of the year you guys wanted to have election of officers. Can I suggest that that be probably during the summer so that we don't run into things like Al being gone or Steve being gone or you guys being in Florida or whatever?
That makes sense to me.
So if there's a meeting during the summer months where everybody's kind of here, it's probably the better one to have it in. Just my suggestion I'm going to throw out. You guys have another one?
You have a suggestion?
I did, middle of summer.
Oh, I thought you were just thinking July.
Pick a month.
Like, wait, do you need an actual date from us or?
Need a July, like at the meeting of July every year or whatever. So the July meeting, the June
I'm
meeting,
thinking more May or June myself.
I would either say
July's a bad,
July's a bad month.
like
it's
August or
first
September.
Thursday, that's.
Yep.
First week of July and,
Right, and that's what I'm saying is, do you guys have and that was just my suggestion is that we do it during the summer so that Al is here and Ed, Ed has got the possibility of being here better.
So just be the first week of June, unless we think it should be May. Because that won't count. If we choose May or June, we don't have to go through the voting. That would be for that'd be for 2023, correct? Or would we have to revote
We probably would revote this time just because,
just to get on?
just get on schedule.
my vote would be for May, but
Yeah, I think May would be better.
First week of May.
My only other thought on it though, from other boards, are we gonna run into trouble at times beginning the boating season, beginning the season in essence of
Or would there be like,
people, well, I'm not putting my boat in this year, or we're not, or different, or trying to make decisions at that time that would affect the season?
it will only affect the officers of who's chairperson, but that wouldn't affect any decisions in the marina itself, electing officers in May. Unless someone wanted like try to join a committee and like change everything, but that still wouldn't happen in May.
Unless you want
I think May's a good month. We just kick it off. I mean, that's earlier in the season and makes sense to me. I don't think it's gonna jam anybody up.
Okay.
I'm just, again, I know you're gone some during the winter, Steve's gone some during the winter, and I was completely blindsided. I was not aware that we couldn't vote remote by the Open Meetings Act, so until when and if that changes, then it could change things up, but until that point in time, I'm just trying to make certain that we can have the majority of the members here so that we don't run into what we had last time, so.
Do we need a motion on that one? Or is it?
I don't know as if it's just part of the open discussion and then we can approve the entire
As
bylaws
just add that in there.
as amended.
I can't remember. Do we have a line in the bylaws to say when we vote?
Yes, there is one in section 4.
Okay.
That states when we're going to vote
So we just add it there and then we improve the bylaws.
as amended.
okay, I'll make a motion to approve the bylaws as amended with the date for elections to be the first week in May.
Thank you.
I second.
Tanner seconds. Motion approved.
Get a vote.
We got a vote. Gosh dang it. All in favor with a yay? Yay.
Hey,
All those against? Approved.
I have election of officers on here, but I'd like to table that until the May meeting if we could.
Yeah. Can you remind me just really quick on the election officers? We're only waiting at this point for a secretary.
Actually, we are going to have to, because of the Open Meetings Act and what was
We do.
that next day, we were going to have to re-vote for vice chair.
Okay.
Your position was solidified.
Okay,
because everybody here voted for you.
okay.
It was a tie for vice chair.
Oh, okay.
So at that point in time, we have to
Yes.
set aside that election based on the Open Meetings Act.
Okay.
And then, to me, if we're this close to May, because we're March right now,
Yeah, might as well.
we might just as well wait so long as you're going to be here.
Yep, I have no plans going anywhere.
Okay.
On to critical issues from Shannon.
I finally feel like we're getting somewhere over at the shop. Things are kind of falling together finally. The walls are painted, the ceiling's painted. I found the last of the lens covers for the lights, and the shop is finally coming together. The last probably major thing we have to do there right now is paint the floor. The guys actually found the red paint. Three cans of paint later, we finally found the right color of red to paint the doors there. So things are falling together there. We're hoping to have that done shortly. One big kick to us was we did not get the grant from rural development. I don't know if I forwarded that to you or not, but we did not get the rural development grant that we were hoping for. I'm still going to pursue some funding to try to do some stuff. I was over at Builders First Source the other day and just asked one of the guys that I'm working with there on something else about window prices, and we can replace the windows at least in the storefront for under $6,000.
Total.
Oh, just buying the windows themselves, putting them in. I'm probably gonna have to go out for bids or quotes, or if maybe there's a couple contractors that are part of the boating community that could put them in, we could do that probably as part of Marina Pride or something like that. So possibilities there of us just being able to get the windows and possibly get them put in, maybe. We'll take a look at that as we get going. Have been doing a little bit of kind of shuffling. We're going through budget right now, so that's why I'm trying to watch the money we've got there right now and see what I can do with it. If we end up leasing that building out year round, and there's some people who have spoke to me about the possibility of leasing the building out year round, we would have to fix the heat inside the building.
Oh.
It's not very effective right now. We actually had to bring in another, like a little stand heater for the guys to get the building heated up to paint it even. So we're probably gonna have to look at the heat system in there.
It'd probably have to be like a full HVAC system or just
I'm hoping,
like not a window box, but
what I'm hoping we can do there is get like based off the square foot, I need like 160,000 BTU furnace, and then run kind of like we have here, just run the 4 ducts and blow it down. That's kind of a big wide open area. I'm hoping that'll heat it enough. I'm going to reach out to a couple of our contractors and see if they feel that will work. If they don't feel or they don't know if it'll work, or they're not comfortable with it, we do have a HVAC company, engineering firm that we've worked with in the past. I'll reach out to him and see how much it'll be to design that system. We'll also have to try to get heat over into the shop area in order to keep that bathroom warm, because we'll have to have the water on year round. The other thing there is, if I can heat the shop, there's always the possibility that whoever runs the shop can work year round out of the shop then. One thing I'm looking at there is part of our clean marine checklist things was a recycle your oil as much as you can. Quickest, fastest, easiest way to recycle oil is a used oil burner. So I can do a freestanding one without the compressors for about $4,000. So if I can keep the money or ask for the money that I was kind of going to ask for our match money, I can probably do those few things that we'd like to get done there and get the building kind of hopefully put back together enough that it works out okay for what we're trying to do with it for the time being, and then schedule the siding out further. But if I can at least get the windows in, that would be, I think, huge in there as far as, number one, keeping the building warm enough, and number two, just making it look a lot better than it was. Other than that, I was also in today looking at what it would take to do the boaters lounge with some volunteer labor. It looks like for less than $1,000, we can put the small kitchenette in. I mean, the biggest expense on that was a smaller refrigerator, like $350, $400 refrigerator. And then about $300 in cabinets and $150 in countertop. And then we had some miscellaneous electrical and plumbing with that also. Flooring was the one I didn't get a chance to look at. I was rushed getting back here, so I didn't get a chance to look at flooring, but that would be the only other thing, flooring and paint.
Have we had internet availability in the lounge before, or has that been routine?
I'm sorry, what, Al?
Internet in the lounge, is that something that's been available before or in the lounge?
We will have internet in the lounge this summer. Wired Cities and I are going together, the IT department and I are going together. We've got fiber to that building right now.
Yeah.
We will hook into that fiber and go out to the docks on the transient side, which will hopefully improve our transient side internet significantly, which means that'll take burden off of the seasonal side a lot more. And then we will have internet available both in the boaters lounge and then out on the transient docks, because we'll need it out there for everything that we're doing out on the docks. And then hopefully that'll take some of the stress off of the guest Wi-Fi on your side until we can collect some more Wired Cities money to do that side.
Do we have a flat screen TV in there? I think when we went through it, it looked like it was one sitting there, whether it's old or whatever, I don't know.
It was a little bit older one that we used here at City Hall for a couple months. And when they said we're going to get rid of it, I usurped it for the marina.
Yeah.
And so that will be able to go up in the wall there. The furniture that's there, it's not the best furniture, but it's still pretty decent furniture. I thought that could stay there, make a small sitting area, put that TV on the wall, paint the walls, redo the flooring. Probably take out that countertop that's in there right now and put the kitchenette kind of down at that end a little bit more, just because that's kind of where our water and our drain system is hooked up at. And that would make that just a little bit more space in there as far as that's concerned. We might be able to move that depending on who leases the shop and storefront. Maybe somebody would want that countertop over in the shop and storefront for their use. And then just kind of paint things up, make it fresh. The kitchen table's in there already. And it should work for what everybody kind of wants. I think it's a start towards kind of getting everything together there. Other than that, I told you about the internet, that's coming. The only other thing is I have been looking at options for management software for the seasonal side of things. DNR manages our transient stuff right now. Everything's got it or is supposed to, and they want it to go through their CAMUS system, which is the DNR system when you guys reserve on other marinas. They want the transient stuff to run through that. What I ran into is it takes a lot of time as far as keeping track of bills and everything on the other side of it, on the seasonal side of it, because that's not run through CAMUS, and that's all got to be billed by hand. And you can ask Cassie. It was a rough couple of days there getting the bills ready at the beginning of February for you guys. So about the third day I was tearing my hair out, IT looked at me and said, we buy software all the time, look for software. So there's a couple good options out there for software. It's probably above and beyond what we need here in the marina as far as what's available on them and things like that, because they're used to dealing with private marinas who handle their transient stuff. But it also gave us the ability for you guys to pretty much set up house accounts. So you pull up and get fuel. And do you want me to bill that to your account? Yeah, I bill it to your account, and that night it goes out of your checkbook or on your card or whatever. I have a meeting with one of these companies on Tuesday remotely by Zoom. Anybody who would like to sit in on that and just see what's available as far as the boater side of that is more than welcome. There's one more company that we are on the fence on that also offered to show the boaters and myself what would happen as far as what the boaters would see available to them. It would, as far as even like scheduling, winter storage and stuff like that, it would be, both of them had the ability for us to basically streamline the scheduling and stuff between us and All Marine. All Marine could open it up, say, yep, I did that boat. It would pop up on my screen then and say that work is done and I could bill it. It would go out by email to everybody. You get an email saying you had an invoice and it was due in 30 days, and then it would remind you in 2 weeks, and then it would remind you 3 days beforehand. There's lots of options with it. So anybody who's interested in that, just reach out to me.
This be like a monthly subscription thing, or is it a one-time buy for this?
We have to pay for it every year, yearly. Both of them were a yearly one. One of them was based off a slip number, and the other one was just you got 3 licenses, so this is what you're going to pay.
How much?
We're up around $5,000 a year for that software. But you take what I bill out for the city.
Right.
It's less than a week's wages. So
It sounds like as the marina grows as well, you're not gonna outgrow the software right away, so.
correct. You know, we've got some room there, you know, by the time you take away the time I spent billing everything out this year and everything else, I could have been designing where this is very streamlined. Those tracking everybody down to get their seasonal slip agreements filled out and their winter storage agreements, that doesn't happen anymore. It's shot to you. When you make an appointment, it's shot to you. And until you hit that button, your appointment isn't on the calendar. There's no more paper. It's all done electronically. Both of them the one company sends you an email. Hey, your insurance is expiring in 60 days. Do you have your insurance re-upped? Things like that. So just a lot of things that Cassie and I need to keep in the back of our heads right now that's taken away from the other 2 jobs that we're both doing. That is just going to get a little bit more streamlined as far as that's concerned. So anybody who's interested in that, again, I can send you that Zoom link. You can sit in on that meeting with me and take a look and see. It's an hour long by the time they get through it on Tuesday. I think it's 10 o'clock. And then the other one isn't scheduled yet.
Why don't you send a Zoom link out to all of us and give us a chance to decide whether we want to or not?
Nope, not a problem, Al. I can do that. That's everything I have for critical issues. Did anybody have any questions for me as far as operations or that?
I think we're all good.
Okay. The marina storage lease was what was up next. You guys had some concerns about that, so we put it on the agenda for today. I'll put it before the committee, and then I have a couple of, or I can read the emails and then put it before committee or whatever you guys want.
Just reading the emails that we've sent.
Well, the emails that I have from other members who are not here.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I got Steve in front of me as well, so we could just read those and then discuss.
For the lease, this is from Steve Wilson. It says, as far as the lease agreement, we need to keep in mind that most established businesses do not have a business plan. Also, unless we are an expert in retail business, it will be tough to determine if a business plan is good or not. Finally, we need to remember that these tenants are our customers, and we need to make it as easy as possible to be successful and want them to rent. So maybe we need to target a certain occupant. We need to know what generally they are going to do with the space. So items 3, 5, and 6 need to be simplified. We are over analyzing, in my opinion, and will drive people away. West Marine is not will not provide all the information. For example, my business has never been asked to provide a business plan or any other details when renting a space. I would be annoyed if asked for a business plan or details on the products I provide. So we may need to be careful, maybe a two-tiered system between startups and experienced businesses. And then Anne. Also had some comments. Just my 2 cents. I don't think it's too much to ask for a business plan. It's something the DDA requires for any business grant. That being said, I have seen with state grants that businesses only need to submit one if they're less than a year in operation. So maybe something to consider, like waiving it if they're around a while and successful. I was curious if the lease could be extended beyond the end of 2022. Would such a short lease be a deterrent to businesses? For our recruitment grants through the DDA, we require a minimum of 3-year leases. So those are the 2 comments that I received from people that were not here as far as that's concerned. Is there any other comments on the proposal and the lease that we sent out for everybody?
I
So
guess,
I tried to make them. We've had some computer issues relative to being able to send emails or anything back and forth. And my line of thinking is going along pretty much what everybody said. Steve, I think, summarized it very nicely. And I think those are issues. I think to hammer home a big, difficult contractual relationship with an upstart or a newbie coming into our kind of incubator space. I think we got to work with them.
I guess my opinions is I kind of come from a different background, and it's really what I'm seeing here is really not that uncommon from where I've lived in the past. Gaming with businesses, this is pretty typical language. I know Alpena has a little bit of a different vibe with some of the stuff, but given who I'm married to, I've seen a lot of businesses fail because they don't have anything like this. So I think if we want to work with people, that'd be great. But we've seen, I want to be flexible, but I also want to make sure that if we're going to go into a long, I think the 1-year lease is definitely something that should be looked at. And if possible, if the city's comfortable with it, offering a more long-term lease, if the person that wants to come into the agreement can prove that they know what they're doing. To be a little bombastic, I just don't want to end up with a boiled hot dog stand. We ever done it at home and then end up with something that's not what we want. I know we get to have that vote. I'm assuming we vote on who gets the lease if it's multiple, right? Or does that fall on the city?
What is going to happen there is I will probably call a special meeting if we get multiple documents that come in. You guys will have a say in it, and then that say will also be extended out to the final probably decision being with the manager and them, because the city will have to have a say in it because we are going to be in the contracts with them. So if we have multiple interests at that point in time, we will probably call a special meeting here later in March to take a look at those proposals.
Shannon, in your opinion with this stuff, I get where Steve's coming from on this, but is there any way to boil down 3 and 4 and adding it to 6 without making this paragraph to just still go legitimate business, had a business plan, knew what they're doing, or had owned a business prior? I would probably personally want to have that stuff in my submission to show that, like, I know what I'm doing. I get it. We're just landowners, but this is a different situation where it's a city is leasing out the space. So if I was a business owner, I wouldn't be totally surprised because they have to be a little bit more guarded than say a $400 a month, 500 square foot storefront. So I could go either way personally on it. I don't know what everyone else here thinks about it.
Well, I'm currently in a lease with the county of Alpena. And I think it'll fall, and from my experience of dealing with contracts with the county, it can be, I see Steve's point and I agree with it, but it also can be a discretionary thing with the city and ourselves in looking at, I'm sure West Marine would come forward with quite an extensive business plan versus somebody else that may be just starting out. I mean, that can be taken into consideration or looked at on a case-by-case basis, I think, and individually. And I get the standpoint from the city. We are offering a piece of property to the community for lease through the city. So you have taxpayers that have an interest in what we're doing. So it kind of changes or opens us up to people looking at what we're doing, I guess, in a quite a scrutinizing it, I guess, I would say. But I think with discretion, we can get through those things, and when somebody hands in a proposal and we look at it from the standpoint of, who is it that's turning it over to us? I think the city and ourselves can look at it that way. I do also agree, though, with possibly going to a longer term for the city's standpoint. There's a 90-day out on both parties, which is excellent. So either party can get out at any time. So with a longer term, you may entice more people that they're stepping into something that they want to do. They're also looking at it like, oh, this is a longer term. I'm serious about this. I know currently my lease with the county right now is 7 years with a 1 year up, and trying to operate a business, or from the city standpoint, to have to go back to this every year and try and figure out by the time you get a year in, you're going to be 6 months in and going, okay, hey, wait a minute, we got to start thinking about what we're doing for this new contract. That would be my only other thought on that. But
Let me reach out to our legal department, because that is straight from every other lease that we're in. So,
Right.
And that's,
Yep.
I can discuss it with our legal department and see if we can change it. I know even trying to get like long-term contracts through All Marine and stuff like that, they didn't want anything more than a year, because then we had the ability to make moves if we had to.
Yeah. And I do.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
My suggestion on the term is you do options. You got your 1 year lease with options to keep renewing, as long as we're happy with them.
And that is in there. We have a 1 year lease with an option to renew at least 5 times.
Yeah. So I guess I don't.
Yeah. Well, I know that this was a couple of years ago. I know that the previous operators in the marina used to complain about, because they were only ever guaranteed a year. Why should they invest their own money into a space that in a year they wouldn't have anymore? And it kind of, with what Jeremy's saying, when you have a little bit of a guarantee of like, well, I know that I have a 5-year agreement, you can kind of make building choices knowing that if you put a little money into it, you're not all of a sudden go like, hey, I fixed up this bill. I know we're doing a lot of work on it as it is. So hopefully what they get is a good quality building when they get it. But I could also understand it from a business standpoint why not longer lease. But I know that at the end of the day with this one, it seems like legal department has the final, kind of a bit of a final say on that one. There's not much we.
Council has the final decision.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess kind of good then in that case, going back to, the section underneath submittals where Steve's pointing out 3, 5, and 6. My last defense of kind of my opinion was, we do have the small business. Oh gosh, Carl Bordelais, the head of it. Yeah. He works with businesses all the time. people that have never been in it before to create business plans. I get a little nervous about just going like, yeah, just submit a thing and we'll look at it. Like, you know, if there's a small business, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's discretionary for you to go, hey, you're a startup, you've never done this before. It would look real nice if you had a business plan. You should go talk to Carl, because Carl's, I mean, I've talked to him with stuff and he's just awesome. So at least from my experience. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm hesitant to just go like, yeah, let's just strike 3 and 4, 3, 5, and 6 off. But I don't think that's what Steve's saying either. So I don't know if anybody has a better
Yeah, I don't think.
way to generalize it, or
Not
do we
gonna be
leave it
an
on?
automatic.
My thing about the whole business plan is that's no guarantee that
Yeah,
there's going to be success. And West Marine might say, we don't have a business plan. We're not going to submit anything. So you're going to say, no, we're not going to let you in.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be an automatic disqualification, you know,
Yeah.
on the next
And I think,
review and selection.
And you go to Carl, it might be 3 months before you actually have it back. So
Yeah.
well, and I guess my thing is that that's why up the top it says 1 to 5 pages. At that point in time, I'm just asking for somebody that, I think what I'm looking for when we look at those business plans, in my mind, is I'm looking for somebody who put some thought into it. I mean, my joke to everybody right now was, I'm not looking for the guy the night before that sat down with his buddy at the bar and said, hey, let's open a marine shop for the marina, and they have it sketched out on a napkin and
You could frame it in the store.
frame it. You know, that's what I'm hoping that we're avoiding, is those businesses that they have a really good intentions, but they never put the thought process into owning a business. I mean, a lot of you guys sitting here own a business, and there's a lot more to it than in the fact of a marine store just selling boat parts. There's taxes and everything else. I guess that's what I'm hoping, is that somebody just isn't going to say, yeah, let's open a boat store tomorrow, and not put the thought into what goes into that.
So, I mean, as it's written right now, I think a lot of us are agreeing, even if it's written the way it's written, there's a lot of gray zone between what you were, you know, it's like Jason said, if someone turns in something, they don't have the business plan, whatever, it doesn't ex-nay them from a lease.
Correct.
It's just, okay, this person provided one, this person didn't. But I guess, you know, with Steve's question, and I'm assuming, you know, with what Wayne's saying too, is this going to act as is one of these things or multiple of these things going to act as a very strong deterrent from getting what could potentially be a good business? And I guess in your opinion, Shannon, is there any way to, you know, it seems like the business plan is the one that we're getting hung up on the most. Is there a way, do you think there's any value in changing that at all? Or, you know, if
Do we go to something that says business synopsis as opposed to business plan? Business plan is kind of an official document.
That's the other thing, because you have shall on all of these, which means they have to.
Yep.
Why don't you put may, and then the ones that want to and can do it,
Okay.
and the ones that don't want to, or then you evaluate based on that.
Yeah, then when we review and actually talk to them.
You know, if somebody says somebody's serious, they do it.
and if they give us a napkin, they give us a napkin.
Here, yeah, if it's on a napkin, then
Steve, what is your opinion on me being able to switch that?
He left. Taking a nap.
I see him up there. I just, Steve Schultz. He's not here. Okay. He might be on the phone. I have to just look at,
is this from other stuff that
yes,
the city has done?
yes,
And have they followed this?
to the most part. It's somewhat, you know, it's one of those things that somewhat I get enough of a synopsis, like we just put this with the lighting out on the break wall. I just asked for a business synopsis or a business plan from whoever submitted, and it's one paragraph.
Yeah.
You know, Meridian Contracting has been in business for how many years? J Rank has been in business for how many years? And that's what we're just looking for, is if you're a startup, then during those meetings, it's a conversation with you. Okay, tell me the steps that you've taken so far to make your business successful. Does it need to be a full-blown business plan? Maybe not, but you at least need to show us that you've put some thought into it and know everything that's involved in it.
Or have this personal skill set,
Yes.
follow through with some things. And like we said, if we can change it to a submit, then maybe that's what we're looking for in terms of compromise, but
So then on the other side of that is who among us is qualified to decide the information they've submitted is appropriate?
We have people available for that.
Would we have a retail person?
We could probably reach out to Mike Muller and them.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying is that,
would that be something we would, if we reached out, say we get a business plan and it's something that someone with more chops needs to look at, and you reach out, would that person be involved in the special meeting, or would that just be, would you just reach out to them and go, hey, Mike, can you check this out?
It's probably something I would reach out and just give a opinion back, or I would reach out to the guy from the Small Business Association or whatever. There's resources. It's just a matter of reaching out to those resources and saying,
yeah,
can you take a peruse through this? Because I mean, again, we're asking for less than 5 pages, because I can tell you after about 4, I start to lose interest.
Yeah.
And I've told everybody that if it gets more than 2 pages, my ADHD kicks in and I start to wander. So I just, again, we're looking for enough just to prove that you've got some kind of idea what you need to do in order to do it.
Do you need a motion or anything of that type to go forward and just explore both the lease and potential word changes?
I don't think we need any of that. It was more of an informational thing for you guys, and for you guys to be able to voice your concerns, and for us to take a look if we had to send an addendum out to the people that we sent it to already.
So this has been sent to
Yes.
the parties?
Yep.
Have you gotten any feedback of?
I have gotten one where people were somebody approached me, they were a little concerned about it. I had a conversation with them. They understand exactly what we're looking for now.
Okay.
So we are Friday, March 11th is our.
Right now it's Friday, March 11th. I have not had anybody reach out and say, hey, I can't get it done, which is typically how things get extended is, hey, I need more time, or
Get any submissions?
we don't get any submissions or anything like that. But right now I know we're going to get hopefully at least one. And there's 2 other parties that were interested in the storefront area.
And that would be retail for boating supplies, or?
The 2 that I know of right now, they were both looking at non-boating supplies in that. Priority is going to be given to a boat supply store. I sent it out to some other people that were willing to help me spread the word and say, hey, we're looking for this. So hopefully we can attract that boat supply store still. But there again, you're going to want to make certain whoever that is kind of got some expertise in that, because you can't completely hope that they know what they're doing, or do you put somebody in there in a boat store that doesn't have a clue? It'd be like me opening a boat store.
Well, anybody that does it is going to have a huge investment in inventory. I mean, that's a huge commitment. I don't know who's out there that does it. I mean, we got retail people in that industry at Hubbard Lake and Grand Lake and that sort of thing, but have any of those expressed any interest in it, or is it a West Marine sort of thing?
It's one of those things, Al, that I sent it out to all of those companies around us that already are doing it with the thought of a satellite store. Does somebody want a satellite store at the marina? And even West Marine, I sent it to West Marine Corporate, and I sent it to West Marine Petoskey, and I sent it to West Marine Traverse City and Bay City and all of them, because if they want to open a small satellite up here in Alpena, they're kind of set up to do it, and they can probably make it happen. So that was, when we did it, we tried to make some smart moves as far as who we sent it to. Irish, we sent it to them. I think we sent it to Wallstrom's. We sent them to Wallstrom's and stuff like that. So anybody who was already running a store, we kind of sent it out to them. If they're in that circle, they realize right now that there's a hole.
Yeah.
So hopefully one of them will jump and try to fill that hole.
And then if the people that came forward that lease it, none of them were boating, supply, store type environments, boaters would still be able to potentially use the mailing address to deliver larger boating parts, right? So
Correct. We've done that.
you could still get stuff, even if that happens. Like for me, most of the stuff not that I have bought a lot of boating stuff, but the stuff I have, I hate to say it, but I order from West Marine online, I ship it to my house. But if something was big enough that I thought, well, no, this probably should go to an actual commercial location.
Mhm.
I mean, if that was still an option, it's still a workaround, I guess.
We've actually received last summer a lot of times oil
Yep.
and stuff like that was shipped for boats that met them here in Alpena, or we held it until they got here.
Out and pick it up. Yeah.
Do we have an idea of what we'd ask for cost-wise?
Cost-wise, I know I have to make about $20,000 just in rent on that building every year in order to pay the utilities for the rest of the marina. So that's kind of, that's always kind of offset that. The rent of the building is always paid for the utilities at the marina. So I need to make that again. So my thought is by square footage, we'll divide that building because you don't have to take the whole thing. So it was really hard to give people what rent numbers were, not knowing how much of that building you needed. So that's why that's empty. I haven't had anybody call and ask yet about it, but that's kind of where I'm at is total across all the businesses in there. I need to be right around 20,000.
So if we can only rent out the shop, you can try to get all 20 from the shop?
Yeah. I won't do that to them. Will not do that to them. And that to me is just unfair. You know, we'll keep trying to pursue somebody to go into there. The shop, I've had more interest in the storefront than the shop.
Okay.
We do have interest in the shop, if that makes everybody feel better. But as far as people interested in the storefront, I've had interest. Neither one of them were boating. One of them was going to look into it.
So it sounds like you'd be willing to segment the storefront,
Yes.
smaller businesses.
Yes. And that was one of the things we looked at is if we could if you split that building in half and maybe not even with a partition as much as just split it in half area wise, we were hoping to get a boat store on one side and then what we consider micro businesses on the other side. And we had one micro business interested, and then we had one guy who was interested and asked me if he could move in next week, basically. So
What is the total square footage of the building?
that total square footage is 2,000 square feet.
Has there been an interest in, has there been an interest in any food vendor in that location, at least seasonally? Well, obviously it'll be
Yes.
seasonal. Yeah.
Yes, one of the micro businesses was a food vendor. The other one was like boutique deli, going to offer some boutique deli, it sounded like.
Thanks.
It's not Ann. She's not quitting her job throwing a boutique deli.
Any other questions on the lease stuff?
Cool. On to grant recommendations by Shannon.
Okay, April 1st. Yeah, April 1st, Waterways Grants are due. And we kind of have our list of the 3 big items that we figure have to be grant projects, which is the fixed docks need to be replaced. The bathroom needs to be replaced. And then all of the pedestals need to be replaced. Electrical upgrades, basically. So those 3 items are kind of the first 3 bigs that we've talked about going after grants on. I need to be in a position that by not next Wednesday, the following Wednesday, I need to make a recommendation to council, which of those three we're going to pursue, and ask council's permission to pursue that grant. And then I have to be completely submitted by April 1st. So I am just reaching out to you guys to, number one, see if your priority is still what we originally discussed, which is replacing the fixed docks first. And basically, I would need a motion from the committee supporting my recommendation to council that we pursue that. And then a letter from the chair in support of that project.
I can make motions, right? Or does that have to be someone else's? Right. I'll figure it out eventually. Give me about 2
Get you.
weeks, I'll get it down.
We'll get you figured out. That's why I'm the parliamentarian.
Yes, I'm glad that's still in there.
Other than I miss things like we can't vote online if Open Meetings Act. So I don't know if there's any discussion as far as what you guys want to do for that grant.
I think it makes sense to go for the docks as we've kind of discussed it. I mean, those are the ones that come up often. So someone would like to make a motion unless someone wants to discuss something different.
The only thing I'm going to do on those docks is they will be longer than they are now to accommodate longer boats. They'll actually match the longer docks on the yacht club side, on Prentice Street side. There's a lot of
Docks where the bubblers are at.
yes, docks where the bubblers are at, which means the bubblers can go away. That's a $1,600 bill I will not be sad to pay anymore.
Random, but when I drove through Tawas East Tawas,
Mhm.
they had bubblers throughout the whole marina.
I know our DPW is pushed for me to try to get them throughout the whole marina. And I'm waiting to see a couple power bills this winter. We had to replace the electric motor last year. So we're hoping that that bill goes down from the $1,600 a month we were paying down to significantly less than that. If that happens, when I change the potable water in the spring, we will not take that black piping off the outside of the docks. We'll slap hoses on it and then bubble that, maybe not as aggressively as we do the fixed dock side. But we'll do that. And then I'm trying to figure out, there's a bubbler system that already runs in the water recycling plant. I'm going to see if I can connect onto that and put it down at least on the walkway down on the transient docks. So long term, yeah, we want to get to the point where there's a lot of it that's bubblered, but you know, hopefully the bills go down is what I need to happen first. Because again, we go back to that, my utilities there are $40,000 a year. So if I can somehow steal out some of that money so we don't have that as badly, then that helps as far as keeping slip fees down and stuff like that. So I don't know what, you know, if you guys' opinion is that we should go after those fixed docks here first. If you're good with me extending the length of them.
Put a
You,
couple of real long ones
That
in.
would make sense.
we're gonna go, I think you guys are, I think they'd be,
Ends are 30s and then
I think they're 50s is what they would become. And that would accommodate, I have over on the transient side, I have a lot of boats right now that are in that transient set there that could go then over to that other side, because right now I don't have a spot for them on that other side. That's what I'm running into, is I need longer docks for about 4 of those boats so I can get them moved back over to where the seasonal boats are, which opens up those transient ones, which are big docks that bring in big boats that bring in.
Well, I'm not voting, but I certainly support your position on that, and I think it was consensus at our previous meetings that those docks were important, and your idea of extension, I think, makes sense.
we just need a motion.
Yeah, I make a motion that we go with your recommendation to replace the fixed docks and get a grant for that, or apply for a grant for that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, before that, 2 Wednesdays from now, I will need a letter from you in support of that.
Okay.
So I can attach it to the memo.
Okay.
Okay. Master's report, still looking for a Marina Tech. We got possibilities. I am working on trying to get somebody interested in that. I had a couple phone calls on it, so I'm still hoping that I get a couple applications in for people who were Marina savvy. I've told you about the management software that we're going to go to. Hopefully that makes everybody's life a little bit easier, because then you're not trying to run credit cards or anything like that. The one system actually is nice enough where it's, the kids will have an iPhone out there and you pump gas and you hit your button,
Awesome.
put your number in, and your gas comes off your bank account. So you're not getting credit card fees or stuff like that.
Yeah, because the city can't cover credit card fees, right?
We can't cover credit card fees. It's just not allowed because we're government.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, when you go to Secretary of State, you get charged the $3 for running your credit card or anything like that. We're the same way, where you have to make people pay them. Some of them I'm putting into the fuel costs and stuff like that. I'm considering them part of it, but I'm trying to keep the fuel costs down, because let's face it, fuel is not good right now. I'm sitting pretty right now on rec fuel. I've got 2,000 gallons in the tank out there, so we're going to be able to start the season kind of where we were last year, and maybe I'll put some in it and kind of average it out. But I'm hoping fuel comes down before summer, because that could really make for a miserable summer for everybody. The rural development grant we did not get. We're still holding out on one more hope, but I don't know what our hopes are on that right now, as far as coming up with some money for it. But I'm still going to, I had to match that grant with $35,000. So I'm still going to request that $35,000 when we're doing budget, which will at least get me, like I said, the heating system, the windows, and the heating system in the back, and possibly do some upgrades to the restroom facilities in the building, so they're not so nappy. Other than that, that's all I have. Any questions for the harbor master?
People can still pay with cards for the gas though if they want to?
Yes.
Pay the fee? Okay.
Yep. They will go through Camus at that point in time. They have a little bit lesser of a fee, so I try to run them through Camus as opposed to ours, which has got a higher fee. This other credit card system, I'm waiting. It depends on which one we have. We'll be running with 3 different credit card systems, unfortunately, down there at some point in time, but it'll just be a matter of, like, if you want to put a credit card on your account as opposed to your bank account, you can do that.
Okay.
Whichever card whichever one you want to run with there, you can. And that's, both of them have kind of told me the same thing.
With dock hands going into the new season, I'm assuming we'll have to be hiring
Yes.
dock hands. When will that start?
I was shocked. I wasn't asked how many dock hands I needed for the advertisement yet. I did have interest from one.
Okay.
Skating ends, so they're all looking for a job.
Yeah.
So Jeremy's going to try to send me his people there that are looking for work. And it kind of works. It works to the best of our advantages, because he doesn't need them during the summer as much. I need dock hands. So that might work out where we can kind of share employees, for lack of better, back and forth.
And then even with someone, if we move forward with someone leasing out a marina building, even if they turn out to be a marina shop, they will not handle those employees, right? That will still
Correct.
through the city. Okay.
They will be my employees, is what happens, is the marina people are all my employees.
Selling a product and okay.
The fuel we're going to sell ourselves. We sell the fuel. We're going to sell ice. The dockage, stuff like that, is all going to be handled through the city. The marine shop will just be a marine shop, and whatever those other businesses will be.
Okay.
Dock hands, if anybody knows anybody, I did get permission from Workman's Comp to go down to 16, which is pretty big for us. We can go down to a 16-year-old for a dock hand. Other than that, the other thing is we have a cruise ship coming in
I heard about this.
every other week.
15 times, isn't it?
Nope, they're coming in 8
8.
this year and 8 next year.
Right.
So we will have a cruise ship coming back into Alpena.
They're staying in the bay, right?
They're
That
going to stay in the bay and tender in. Again, they're going to go down. I reached out to Noah. Noah's willing to put them on their dock down there with the Lady Michigan. It kind of dumps them out into the marine sanctuary area then, which is kind of nice. Noah and I are kind of, Andrew and I are working back and forth right now. Yeah, are working back and forth right now to see who's going to be the lineman down there for us for the day, if it's going to be my crew or his crew. And hopefully it's real cooperative and we can get some people on the Lady Michigan, and hopefully by then Noah's back open and the sanctuary's back open and people can walk through there and then walk downtown.
We think there's a bit of movement. I talked recently with Jeff. We'll see. We've got our SAC meeting coming up on, I think it's the 22nd of March. Hopefully there's something coming down. I will be extremely upset if it doesn't. We've reached out and been something less than polite with the, I guess, the upper crust of NOAA. But it goes to commerce, so we really can't lose a lot of hell over it, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get something happening.
Yeah, I think that first boat comes in May 15th. So it's coming. They're coming quickly here. So, yeah, it's going to kind of be a little crazy day down there. We're going to actually have to pull all the marine techs out of the marina that day in order for that all to happen, because we have to operate the bridge for 10 hours that day for that boat to go in and out, plus the Lady Michigan going in and out and things like that. So, it'll be a little crazy day there at the marina, and it's going to take quite a few people to make it all happen, but I think it'll be great for our community. Is there any, I'm sorry.
is there, moving on, is there any comments from the public? Good. Okay. All right. On to committee members. Staff comments. All right. Our next meeting will be April 7th. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. Motion carried.
You have to vote.
Vote to close it?
Yeah,
Aye.
there you go.